Hello, good day. My name is Quinipel Anzano, and today we're going to talk about the Customs Memorandum Order Number 22, Series 2010, to all District Port Collectors of Customs and other officials and employees, subject revised Customs Port Operations Manual. And we will going to focus on the Administrative Provisions, which has 12 sections. So let's start. Administrative Provisions. Section 1, Bay Service Section or Equivalent Office. The Bay Service Section is in charge of boarding formalities and the entrance and clearance of foreign vessels. It supervises and implements security measures in the discharging or loading or import or export shipments, as well as to incoming or outgoing crew, passengers, and visitors on board such vessels. The Bay Service Section shall be headed by a chief who shall have direct supervision and control over all personnel therein. He shall issue instructions to the Customs Senior Boarding Officer, and who shall in turn be held responsible for the proper execution of the instructions given from time to time and to render reports. Section 2. Uniforms and Insignia or Peers and Inspection Division. The Chief Bay Service Section, Customs Senior Boarding Officers, Customs Inspectors, Customs Guards, and Wharfingers shall always wear the appropriate and prescribed uniform, insignia, name plate, customs badge, black shoes, and regulation cup. Section 3. Duties and Responsibilities of Customs Operations Officer or Customs Senior Boarding Officer. A Customs Senior Boarding Officer shall have the following duties and responsibilities. First, to board incoming foreign vessels outside the breakwater or harbor, unless prevented by stress of weather. When boarding a vessel, the Customs Senior Boarding Officer shall be assisted by the Customs Inspector assigned on a vessel. During boarding formalities, only the Customs Senior Boarding Officer and the Customs Inspector shall be allowed to enter the captain's cabin unless the captain chooses to give the boarding information to the Customs Senior Boarding Officers outside the captain's cabin. Second, obtain from the master of a vessel the necessary information as required in BOC OPM Form number 15 or record of vessel boarded. A Customs Senior Boarding Officer shall have the duties and responsibilities to see stores in the presence of the ship's officer and the customs inspector assigned on board. Under penalty of law, the customs seal so effect shall not be broken while the vessel is within the jurisdiction limits of the Philippines, except when the vessel is in port and only upon written application to withdraw supplies signed by the master and approved by Collector of Customs or his duly authorized representatives, and only the Customs Senior Boarding Officer, in the presence of the Customs Inspector, may break the seal and allow the withdrawal of such quantities as may be authorized and reseal the sea store compartment after such withdrawal. Fourth is that see to it that all Customs Inspector and Customs Guards on duty are in their proper prescribed uniforms. Fifth, see to it that Customs Inspector or Customs Guard assigned to a vessel is provided with the necessary stationery and supplies. He shall also see to it that Customs Inspectors have a copy to the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines and a manual for port operations. The report of Customs Senior Boarding Officers. First is the Customs Senior Boarding Officer shall transmit to the Chief Bar Service Section. Second, that he shall prepare this and submit his trip report on BOC OPM Form number 15 or records of vessels boarded to the Chief Bay Service Section. Section 4. We have the duties and responsibilities of Customs Operations Officer are the Customs Inspector. A Customs Inspector shall have the following duties and responsibilities. A Customs Inspector shall supervise the discharge and loading of cargo and to supervise continual surveillance to protect the interests of the Customs Service pursuant to Section 2202 of the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines as amended. shall be responsible for the proper disposal of all cargo and stores on board vessels under their charge. It is their duty to see that no cargo or stores of any description are discharged from or received on the vessel without authority from the Collector of Customs or his authorized representative. Third, the Customs Inspector shall represent the Customs Service in his official relations with the passengers, ships, officers, owners, agents, and consignees, and should see to it that the dignity of the service is not impaired. A Customs Inspector shall stay in the vessel to which he has been assigned until he is relieved by proper authority except as hereinafter provided, or it to be necessary in the interest of the service that immediate action be taken. And a Customs Inspector shall have the shall honor any order, request, or permit of any description only from the following named officials: Commissioner of Customs or Deputy Commissioner of Customs, Collector of Customs or Deputy Collector of Operations, Chief or Assistant Chief, Peers and Inspection Division, Chief Base Service Section, and Customs Senior Boarding Officers. A Customs Inspector shall endeavor to work in harmony at all times with customs employees of other divisions and with the immigration officers on board with respect to the enforcement of immigration laws, rendering assistance to those officials in the performance of their duties. And also, a Customs Inspector shall cooperate with quarantine authorities in the enforcement of port quarantine regulations promulgated by the Bureau of Quarantine, and shall give effect to the same insofar as they are connected with matters of shipping and navigation pursuant to Section 605 of the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines as amended. And the Customs Inspector shall familiarize themselves with the provisions of the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines. And also, he shall refer to the matter to the Customs Senior Boarding Officer or Chief Base Service Section for decision in case he is in doubt as to the proper action to be taken. A specific duties upon assuming charge of vessels. First is, it shall be the first duty of the Customs Inspector upon assuming charge of a vessel, especially a passenger vessel, to immediately assign a customs guard to each accommodation ladder or gangway with the instruction not to allow persons aboard the vessel without a written pass, excepting the stevedores, to attend to the discharging or loading of cargoes. And also, the Customs Inspector shall instruct customs guards assigned on the gangway to conduct body searches, if necessary, on all persons boarding or disembarking from the vessel. And also, while the vessel is docked at the pier of wharf, the Customs Inspector shall make periodic inspection to ascertain that all ropes and cables from vessel to dock are provided with rat guards and that adequate safeguards are employed, such as the covering of the hose through which ropes and cables pass. Relationship of Customs Inspectors with Customs guards under his supervision. The Customs Inspector shall see to it that the customs guards assigned on the vessel are in complete uniform and present a neat and clean appearance. He shall instruct them that all disputes and all questions wherein the element of doubt enters should be submitted immediately to the Customs Inspector on board, and satisfy himself that the customs guard to whom he issues instructions thoroughly understand them so that errors may be avoided. A Customs Inspector shall report to the Customs Senior Boarding Officer on duty the unexplained absence of any customs guard assigned to him, and an efficiency report for customs guard shall be submitted by the Customs Inspector for each vessel of which he is in charge. Customs guards who are incompetent, negligent in the performance of their official duties or guilty of disobedience shall be the subject of special informal report which shall be submitted with the efficiency report. He shall maintain also a logbook to keep a record of events during his tour of duty to include customs guards or sends ashore to another vessel on official business specifying the following: time of departure, nature of business, destination, where and when he is to report upon the completion of his business, and time return. When customs guards are ordered to report to the customs senior boarding officer's lounge at a certain time, a similar note shall be given addressed to the customs senior boarding officer, and these records shall always be rendered on the logbook furnished to customs inspectors so that absent customs guards can be accounted for. And also, it is essential that an accurate check be secured on all cargoes discharged from and loaded on a vessel. Customs inspector shall instruct their customs guards to check independently of other checkers and to submit their customs guards report. And also, he shall submit the discharging sequence and or inward foreign manifest duly received in the logbook by the customs wharfinger. The report after the termination of duty. A customs inspector returning to shore after the vessel of which he was in charge has sailed or returning to station from an outpost assignment shall immediately report to the Chief Base Service Section and submit all reports relative to his assignment to the latter, who shall properly endorse them to the Chief Beers and Inspection Division or its equivalent office. The Customs Inspector, upon submission of his reports shall register the time and date of his vessel's departure in the priority listing of customs inspectors for assignments. A customs inspector who has not submitted his records and documents pertinent to his vessel assignment shall not be given assignment to a new vessel until he has submitted his reports and documents. And the reports of a customs inspector shall include the supporting documents the following. First, we have the duly accomplished inspector certificate of lading, the original copy together with the export permits to be submitted to the export processing division concerned. Second, the shipside permits, certificate of inspection, certificate of identification and loading, if any. Fourth, we have the certificate of date of last cargo discharge. Fifth, clearance of a vessel including indicating therein the time and date the vessel sails and the berth assignment and the period of vessel stays at such berth and or anchored for transmittal to the customs clearance officer. 6. We have the general permit issued by the customs senior boarding officer properly endorsed at the back thereof. And lastly, all shipping documents required from the master upon boarding a vessel, permits properly endorsed, and reports of all violations of customs rules and regulations that may come into his attention. All permits, entries, and other documents received by the customs inspector on board of a vessel shall be introduced by him upon completion of his portion of the action directed. Such endorsements shall always show: we have first the date when the action was accomplished. Second, the action is taken. Third, the portion of the action unaccomplished, except in some instances where another customs official has to perform the accomplished action. Section 5, Port Utilization Section. The Port Utilization Section supervises the receiving, handling, custody, monitoring, movement, and release of shipments at the piers or customs zone. The Port Utilization Section shall be headed by a chief who shall perform the following functions. It supervises all the wharfingers, assistant wharfingers, customs guards assigned at the container yards, outside CYCFS, and customs gatekeepers. The Port Utilization Section shall be act on all written reports submitted by the personnel under his supervision, be responsible for the conduct, vigilance, assistant, efficiency, neat and clean appearance of all personnel under him, require all wharfingers, assistant wharfingers, customs guards, and customs gatekeepers to be in complete uniform while on duty, assign his personnel proper apportioning their overtime as equitable and as fairly as possible, exercise direct supervision over customs aid keepers, inspect piers, wharves, warehouses, container fleet, and the container terminal inside the customs zone as frequently as possible, submitting to the Chief Piers and Inspection Division or its equivalent office such reports as may be necessary. See to it that cargoes are transferred properly and promptly to bonded carriers, bonded warehouse and private warehouses covered by proper transfer notes. Recommended to the Chief Piers and Inspection Division or its equivalent for the interest of the service and with consultation with the wharfingers in charge of the piers, there is reshuffling of personnel under him to the different piers. Can supervise the wharfingers in the preparation, rating, and submission to the Chief of Division the performance rating of all personnel under them. And also it recommends any personnel who are deserving, capable, and willing pursuant to civil service rules and regulations for any promotion that are subject to be filled upon. And lastly, it implements all lawful orders given to him from time to time by proper customs authorities with regard to his section. And now let's proceed to section 6. The duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations Officer or the wharfingers. At the pier CYCFS, there shall be one wharfinger in charge of each pier who shall be responsible for the efficiency and discipline of customs personnel under him. He shall exercise effective supervision over the arrestery contractor service regarding receiving, handling, custody, and delivery of cargoes. He shall note carefully the condition of the tender files and draft at piers and submit reports thereon. He shall operate other officers of the government performing official function at the piers. He shall also supervise the cleaning of the piers and see to it that garbage and obnoxious cargoes are disposed of promptly and properly. He shall cooperate with the Enforcement and Security Service or ESS in maintaining peace, order at the pier, including the execution of unauthorized person inside the pier, shed, or warehouse and premises. And also, he shall recommend the transfer and shifting of cargoes from pier to pier only to government-bonded warehouses inside and outside the customs premises. He shall also process delivery permits and other types of customs permits vis-a-vis the official receipt or statement of settlement of duties and taxes or the SSDT issued by the formal or informal entry division prior to the release of cargo. A wharfinger at the pier also shall or through his authorized representative accept delivery permits and other types of customs permits officially hand-carried by official messengers of the Bureau and shall properly distribute the same to concerned shed or warehouse wharfinger where the cargoes are stored. He shall also submit daily, weekly, monthly, and annual reports through proper channels to the Chief Piers and Inspection Division or its equivalent office. A wharfinger shall implement all lawful orders given to him time to time by proper customs authorities. And lastly, one of the duties and responsibilities of a wharfinger at the pier, he shall submit report of overstaying cargoes to the Chief Piers and Inspection Division or its equivalent office. A wharfinger duties and responsibilities outside CYCFS or off-dock, there shall be one wharfinger in charge of outside CYCFS or off-dock. There he shall receive the transfer note, inbound container, and inward foreign manifest from the customs guard, and he shall supervise the stripping of the containers. A wharfinger outside shall receive the shipping tally sheet from the CFS warehouseman, and he shall process delivery and other types of customs permits vis-a-vis the official receipt or statement of settlement of duties and taxes, or the SSTT issued by the formal or informal entry division prior to the release of cargo. A wharfinger shall see to it that the cargoes are released and delivered only to proper parties in accordance with the marks, countermarks, and registry and number of the carrying vessel. The responsibilities and duties of a wharfinger outside pier shall assign a customs guard and sign transfer note, as well as supervise the transfer of cargoes to the local ports, economic zones, and bonded warehouses either inside or outside customs zone, including coastwise transit cargoes and other places designated by customs. In all cases of transfer of packed containers covered by warehousing permits or other permits where duties and taxes have not been paid, the container shall be sealed with a customs seal by the wharfinger concerned in the presence of the customs examiner concerned. Said wharfinger shall see to it that the customs bonded warehouse by the customs warehouseman assigned thereat. If there is no customs warehouseman or anybody authorized by the collector of customs to receive the same, such containers shall remain underguarded continuously by the same customs guard until the same is properly released by the Bureau of Customs. A wharfinger shall also maintain a logbook to record events such as examination made, hold or alert order, a notice of warrant of seizure and detention, or the WSD, and sample taken. And he shall also report to the collector of customs within 24 hours from the time the article is deemed abandoned, and submit a monthly report of abandoned or overstaying cargoes to the office, the Chief Piers and Inspection Division or equivalent office. Now let's proceed to Section 7, Duties and Responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operation Officer or Designated Assistant Wharfingers. Each cargo, shed, or warehouse shall be under the direct charge and supervision of an assistant wharfinger who shall maintain his office inside the shed or warehouse. And also he shall prepare, rate, and submit rating of his pier, shed, warehouse, customs guard to the wharfinger in charge of the prior. He shall supervise the opening and closing of the cargo, shed, or warehouse. The keys shall be secured in his office and shall be returned in the box provided for in the office of the officer in charge of the pier after the shed or warehouse has been closed. A assistant wharfinger shall also not allow an authorized person inside the cargo, shed, or warehouse with or without operation. He shall also process all delivery permits pertaining to his shed or warehouse to his before authorizing delivery of cargo therefrom. A assistant wharfinger also shall supervise closely the activities of the customs guards assigned in his shed or warehouse. He also clear the pier berth of lighters and other obstructions during the berthing and or departure of vessel, and assist the wharfinger in charge of the pier and to execute all his orders. One of also the duties and responsibilities of the assistant wharfinger, he shall prepare assigned transfer notes as well as supervise the transfer of cargoes to the local ports, economic zones, and bonded warehouses, either inside of or outside customs zone, including coastwise transit cargoes and other places designated by customs. And he shall see to it that no inflammable, dangerous, or obnoxious cargoes are stored inside the shed or warehouse. A assistant wharfinger shall coordinate with the arrestery or shed or warehouse security personnel and enforcement and security service in the prevention of pilferage of cargoes and other anomalies to defraud the customs revenues. The duties and responsibilities of assistant wharfingers also perform all functions that may be assigned to him from time to time by superior authorities. Let's proceed to Section 8, the duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations Officer or the Customs Guard. The Customs Guard duties and responsibilities at the pier shall see to it that no inflammable, dangerous, and obnoxious cargoes are discharged on the dock without proper permit. And when assigned to delivery work, he shall scrutinize the delivery permit properly processed and signed by the processing wharfinger, and he shall check carefully the load on the truck against the gate pass issued in accordance with the mark, countermarks, registry number, and total number of packages. He also shall see to it that all deliveries made are duly recorded on the Customs Guard's delivery sheet. Duties and responsibilities of the Customs Guards shall see to it that the wharfinger's copy of the delivery permit is retained and the same to be forwarded to the wharfinger concerned upon the conclusion of the delivery. And also when assigned as conduction guard, he shall see to it that the cargo destined for transfer reaches its destination safely and covering transfer note properly signed by the warehouseman or storekeeper or wharfinger or customs guard concerned as the case may be. The duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations or the Customs Guards on board vessel. The Customs Guard shall see to it that no person is allowed to board the vessel without a written pass, excepting the stevedores to attend to the discharging or loading of cargoes at each accommodation ladder or gangway. He shall conduct also body searches if necessary on all persons coming in and out of the vessels. He shall perform customs surveillance on board the vessel or ark carriers containing cargo in transit that has not been released from customs supervision. The duties and responsibilities of the customs guards on board also shall check cargoes being discharged from or loaded on a vessel, shall act as couriers on official business, and shall see to it that no empty lighters stay alongside the pier without proper permit. The duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations Officer or the Customs Guards outside or off dock. A Customs Guard shall assist the shed or warehouse wharfinger in supervising the receiving, handling, custody, delivery operations to include witnessing the stripping or deveining and sign the cargo stripping report. And also he shall assist the shed or warehouse wharfingers in attending the inventory of bad order cargo and assign the bad order inspection certificate issued by the ARAS 3 operator. And others, a customs guard shall perform any other work or function that may be assigned to him from time to time by his superiors. And now let's proceed to the Section 9 of this manual, the duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations Officer or the designated customs gatekeepers. A gatekeepers shall report punctually at the terminal gate assigned to him and shall remain thereat until properly relieved or otherwise directed to perform other duties by his superiors. He shall not allow merchandise to pass through the gate without a gate pass. He shall verify the genuineness of the said pass as well as the signatures appearing thereon, and he shall check the cargo covered by the gate pass as the marks, number, quantity of packages, and registry number of the carrying vessel. He may hold the truck or merchandise if he has valid reasons to believe that the merchandise is different from what is shown in the gate pass, reporting the matter promptly to the wharfinger in charge of the pier where the cargo came from. The designated customs gatekeeper must verify and see to it that all gate passes or customs copy are countersigned by the wharfinger of the corresponding he shall see to it that gate passes with alterations and or notations shall not be honored without the signature of the pier superintendent and the wharfinger. A designated customs gatekeepers also shall collect all gate passes which shall be submitted to the office of the wharfinger for reportorial purposes at the end of each working day. A customs gatekeeper is also in charge and supervise his men properly at the customs zone and pier gate, assisting them on whatever problems that may arise, and if not resolved, the same should be referred to the wharfinger in charge of the pier where the cargo came from. The customs gatekeeper assigned at the exit gates shall be required to open all empty containers to verify whether they are indeed empty and shall keep records of the approved requests or permits issued and report any discrepancy to the office of the wharfinger in charge. And now let's proceed to Section 10. Section 10. Reporting time of customs personnel. The reporting time of customs senior boarding officers, customs inspectors, and customs guards are as follows. A customs senior boarding officers, customs inspectors, and customs guards are not assigned to vessel shall report at and stay in the office of the Chief Piers and Inspection Division or its equivalent office and observe regular working hours. They also shall perform such duties as may be assigned to them by the Chief or Assistant Chief of the Division and the Chief Base Service Section or its equivalent office. The Customs Senior Boarding Officer, Customs Inspectors, and Customs Guards assigned to vessels arriving before 8 a.m. and after 5 p.m. shall report for duty at least 2 hours before the vessel's estimated time of arrival. And in Section 11, it talks about the meals and accommodations for designated customs inspectors and customs guards. On board vessel, the customs senior boarding officer shall, when necessary, invite the attention of the master of the vessel to customs regulations, which require the serving of meals and providing of suitable accommodations to customs inspector and customs guards assigned on board. If meals are not provided on board, the fact shall be certified to the master of chief steward of the vessel to entitle the customs inspector and customs guards to meal allowances at the rate provided for existing regulations. To outports or travel expenses, customs inspector and customs guards traveling at the request and expense of shipping lines or other entities shall be allowed suitable accommodations and accrual of unnecessary expenses for board and lodging subject to existing rules and regulations. Customs officials and employees duly assigned on board vessels shall be furnished with suitable accommodations and free regular meals. Whenever meals are available on board a vessel, customs inspector and customs guards assigned thereon shall not take their meals ashore except when there is good justification for doing so and only when at least a customs guard is left on board. In Section 12, Leave of Absence. Application for vacation leave shall be filled and approved before such leave of absence is enjoyed by any officer or employee unless prevented by unforeseen circumstances beyond his control. Application for sick leave shall be filled within 2 days after return to duty, and if more than 3 days shall be supported by a medical certificate. And any officer or employee detained by causes beyond his control and unable to report for duty at the prescribed hour of reporting must notify the office in which he is employed to the effect within 2 hours. If practicable, of such permission will be cause for disciplinary measures unless specifically explained. And that would be all for the administrative provision. Thank you.